I think if you think about it in the context of, say, this country, I'm an American citizen. There, we are steeped in the whole notion of a social contract, and that if you don't like the government that you have and the people that are providing services to you, and you don't think it's working, you throw the bums out and you start again. There isn't the same kind of accountability relationship in the international development system. And so it's often the case that the priorities that the people who have resources to put into this endeavor and the people that are ostensibly benefiting from that provision of resources, training, whatever it might be, the whole gamut of things, have different priorities. And so there isn't a mechanism to join that up in the way that there is in places where there's a very real kind of democratic process binding people together. And so I think a lot of what we're trying to figure out today is how can this process of incorporating feedback, demanding that people who provide resources, programs, et cetera, use feedback, how can that begin to approximate in a useful way a really and feed into a true accountability relationship?
So I think the main way to fill that gap is to really understand what's happening with the people that we seek to help, and hearing those voices, balancing those with the voices of the so-called experts who have the research and the data that can back up what actually works, and to be able to combine those. So actually, one way that we're doing this through the Fund for Shared Insight is that we are trying to find research that will establish, if there is, a relationship between the feedback that we're collecting from the people we seek to help and the actual outcomes for those individuals that are being served. And if there is a way to find some early predictors of what might lead to success in the future. It may not be there, but in healthcare and in education, it seems to have been proven that there are some early indicators of feedback that are predictive of future success for the student or for the patient. And so the question that we're trying to answer through funding research is whether there are those kinds of early predictors around feedback in other social service settings. So that may be one way to close that gap between what the beneficiaries are experiencing and what nonprofits are offering.
I think that is what Feedback Labs and the broader community of people that are thinking about feedback are trying to do. The real experts, of course, are the people in the kind of context that we work who understand the challenges and the solutions to the problems that they face, and can operate in those contexts in ways that are effective and sustainable over time. So I would say, we need to begin to flip that. It's about us learning from what they do and how they can find better ways of doing things. And then perhaps our role is to help them share that learning, to synthesize it with what we do in other ways, and begin to sort of build this larger movement in a way that can put feedback right at the heart of the way that processes of change take place all over the world.
Well, basically, we ask them. This is at root a conversation in which we need to ask people what do their lives comprise, what are the issues that they're facing, what aid/services do they want, what other things do they want, what are they getting, and how do they think it could be better.